There's just one place where you could drive a new Acura ZDX for only $239 a month. The Customer Appreciation Sale at Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for making us number one.
All service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge, Total Landscape Solutions.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help.
We are live. It is time to talk a little NASCAR. And this week, we're not just talking left turns.
Yeah.
No.
Right turns.
Right turns as well. We had COTA this week. And, of course, I am Sean Stanley. He over that way. There he is. That is Spencer O'Neill, the great No Doubt. If you watch us on the Squared Circle Digest, you're in the chat. How are we doing today, Spencer?
Doing awesome, man. How you doing, Sean?
Good, good. I was just actually watching us on X to make sure everything's going good, so I apologize. There, I had a couple of malfunctions during the openings there, but hey, I think everything seems to be rolling now. You decked out in Dolphins gear today, man.
I am decked out in Dolphins gear today.
Man, from head to toe.
No, not head to toe. You can't see my pants and you can't see my socks, but we're good up top.
Oh, boy. Oh, I don't even want to know. I might be at the office today or something, you know. I don't know how that works with you. So COTA was this week, Course of the Americas. For those that don't know, it used to be a almost 3.5 mile course. They took the mile out, the big loop at the top, and made it a 2.4 mile course for this, I guess, going forward now. Your thoughts, without giving away too much. What did you think of the overall racing from COTA this week? Now, I only caught bits and pieces of the Xfinity, but I did watch the whole Cup Series race. But overall, what was your thoughts of the COTA race? And I know you are a road course. You like road course. I do not. So I want to we'll have varying opinions, I'm sure.
I like the road course just because it's different, right? We don't get them all the time. We get people that don't always succeed to succeed, although, you know, I guess we did get people that always succeed to succeed this weekend. But, you know, let's talk about the change in the track, right? So we got rid of this sort of, you know, the end there where it went all the way up, and then there's this very sharp corner, and that's always been a passing zone. And then there's this long straightaway where it's always been sort of like, if you can get inside in that corner, you can kind of push them a little, and then you can get that run and you can take off, right? It's a lot of takeoff speed and a lot of up to the next point. So they take this off, and I had a lot of, you know, questions about what that was going to look like. But what we got was this turn 6 and 6A or 6 and 6B, whatever it was.
It was 6A and 6B. There's like 6. I don't understand it, but
coming out of the S's, you've got this like sort of, you know, turn, and it comes in two different spots, and they had this little thing out in the corner there so that if you tried to take that corner and cut it off, you were going to run into some tires with some plastic around it. And I really liked it. So I liked it because coming out of the S's, it causes them to sort of hit on the brake a little bit. It wasn't on this long run after it to where they're now braking at one point in time, and they're trying to brake going really way too fast to begin with. The whole point of the S's is to slow them down a little. And when you get to this turn, you're trying to get inside, but everybody's pretty much inside. And if you can get them to turn a little wide, then you can get inside of them on B, right? And we saw a lot of action there. We saw a lot of passing there. And to be honest, towards the end of the race, especially at the Cup Series, I mean, what were they talking about? They're like, all right, how long till we get back to 6? How long till we get back to 6? Like, so they took that spot that I thought was going to be a problem because that was the passing zone, and they gave us another passing zone, which honestly I thought was better. The course was shorter. The tracks, it didn't take as long to get around the track. We still didn't see cars getting lapped, so it's not like the track got so short that, everyone was going to catch up with each other and we were going to have lap cars. Like, we don't normally see that at COTA, and we didn't this year. So I really liked the change in the course. I'm glad they're going to keep it. I hope they keep it. And, that's what I thought about it.
Yeah, no, look, I am not a road course guy. Anybody that knows me in NASCAR, I'm an oval guy. I love the super speedways. I love the short tracks. I love almost the old school mentality of racing, hanging, banging and trying to get your things there. And what's funny is I felt like when they took that one turn away and made it to 2, now you made 2 passing zones in a way, because if you couldn't get the first one, but you were kind of there, you had a chance on that there was a little bit of a shoot there, and then you got to the second part to where maybe you could, take it there, and then you worked your way down, and then there was another. It almost opened it up to where, for me, for the first time watching a road course, there was more than 1, maybe 2 spots where you could pass, and by passing I mean actually work a pass, not just run the guy and bumper him and take him out, and that was the thing that I liked about the ending of this race too, the clean racing. They raced clean. Listen, there was a couple times where Bell could have easily taken and just pushed him up out of the way, but they raced it good, and vice versa too.
Yeah.
Bush could have came down and ended Bell's day just as easily, and then everything's different.
And Byron had 6 or 7 laps. He could have done the same thing to Bell, right? Like, but they didn't. They didn't really do the push. They were kind of trying to get inside. You use angles, and it was a clean race. And I also thought it was interesting that
allowed it too, though. I felt that all the different areas now allowed you to feel like, okay, I don't have to take out at this turn or this turn because now I can work. And again, this is the one thing with road course too that I do. Again, I don't like the road, but you apply a lot of the driver's skill into this course and into these courses where you're setting up a guy 3 turns away for the next, you heard it if you're watching the broadcast. They're like, oh, he's going outside, so he must be trying to set him up for a pass as they go up to 6. And you could just see it play out, and it's so amazing. And again, I get it. These guys are, the greatest at what they do, and driving the cars, but how just easy that sometimes they make some of these things look is amazing. And hell, I think Chase Elliott finished 4th or 5th. I believe it was 4th or 5th was Elliott.
Yeah, he worked his way way back up into the field.
The first lap, first corner, he was wrecked.
Yeah.
First corner, he was wrecked. Denny Hamlin got damage on the first lap. There was a lot of, the Ross Chastain dive at the beginning was Ross Chastain. I mean, it is. Listen, man, I love the fact that everybody gets mad, but Ross ain't changing what he does, man. You know what you're getting with him. And Hocevar is becoming that guy too. Right.
Hey, listen, we call it trade and paint for a reason, right? Like, everybody wants a little bit of that.
Yeah, except when it's your guy that gets taken out. Then you're like, God damn Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
And listen, my guy didn't do much better today this year, this race, because he locked up the fronts and took out Austin Dillon.
Yeah, I mean, he raced pretty well for missing a quarter panel in the front there, but yeah, he got lucky with the fact that the metal there didn't really get into the tire and he could run the whole race, so that was good.
Yeah, man. So let's talk a little bit. You said you watched the Xfinity race, yes or no?
I did. I did watch the Xfinity race.
Connor Zilic. Let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about this young man. Now, again, he made his debut at Watkins Glen and won that race in Xfinity. He's on Xfinity this race, and what he lead 26 laps, I believe it is, that he ends up leading and winning the race. And I'll tell you now, every time I turned on the damn race, I felt like he was winning. So I don't know if it was that dominant of a performance, because I didn't watch the whole thing, but like, is he becoming there for a little bit? It was SVG. Every time he was in like Xfinity, he was winning the road courses. At least it felt like.
Right.
Is that what Connor Zilic is?
So, I mean, Connor Zilic, let's look at it, right? So we've had 3 races so far this year. He's been in all 3. He's been in the car. And he's got 2 did not finish in the super speedway, and he's got a win at a road course. He's got an average finish of 27th, and he's currently 16th in points, but he's got that win. But yeah, I mean, Connor, he starts off the race, and I forget exactly what happened, but he ended up in the pit, I think, and he ended up at the back of the track. And back of the pack. I mean, he was next to last, barely on the lead lap. And I'm watching for like 50 laps, just that 75 seconds that he was down, just slowly go and go and go and go and go. And then once we got to the end of stage 2 and we got to where there was a restart and he wasn't all that space back and he could just go and go through people. I forget exactly when he got in. I mean, it says that he led what?
I believe it was 26 is what I read.
26? Yeah. 27 laps?
Yeah, because it said, and his last pit stop was lap 36.
Mm-hmm.
So he never pitted again after that, and you got Byron pitted on lap, it says 65 here. I don't know how long the race was, but it feels like, it seems like everybody, so maybe they just, the race stopped at 65? Was that everybody did 65 and Connor stayed out?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay. No, I'm just wondering because like everybody's at 65 except for Connor Zilic is 36. So
right,
if he's that good at saving, but again, I feel like he's done this because he debuted at Watkins Glen and won that race. So he's got some knowing on and hell, they bumped him up on Trackhouse Racing to the Cup side to give him his debut, and we'll discuss a little bit more of that because he wasn't running that bad. But when you look at this young man, like I don't know, it's
he was doing the same thing he did in Xfinity. You know, he made a couple of mistakes. He ended up towards the back, and he was working his way back up. And we'll talk about it now, right? I think I sent you something on X, and I was like, this kid's really impressive. I was watching the COTA race, the Cup Series race, on about 15, 20 minutes delay. Yeah. And I didn't know that I had this feeling
when you wrote that because he had just got taken out.
Yeah, I had this feeling. I'm like, I shouldn't have sent it. And
how he looked racing, I was like, yeah, no, he's got the goods, man. You could see it. He's got them. I didn't know that you were on delay at that point. And then, to go back on that, I also texted back about Kyle Busch with about 10 laps to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, this is not looking bad for Rowdy Nation here. And, of course, we know how that ended up. So from now on, we will not chat at each other anymore. All right? How about that?
Yeah, well, unless we don't want something to happen, then we can talk about it.
Yeah, if we want something to happen, we'll just send that to each other. Open up your X, and there'll be a whole bunch of things for me. I wanted all that to happen so my guy could get back on the thing. And Zilic had a commitment line violation, which sent him back to 32nd place.
Right.
During the race. That's where he restarted from.
I think he got back all the way to like 15th or 16th when the wreck happened.
Yeah, and then he drove through the field, and then he took the lap 56. And there was only 65 laps, so he took the lead again on lap 56. And then he led the rest all the way.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple times where people got close but could never really get to him. And then of course he goes on, and now we get the Cup race. And what's interesting with the Cup race was a name that kind of qualified well on this, and he even joked himself, Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
Not a race course driver.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Where did he qualify?
Yeah, he qualified second. qualified on the pole on the
He
second.
qualified second.
Yeah. And he sends out a tweet. He's like, "Oh, Bubba Wallace wasn't in the car today," like laughing about it. And then on Sunday, of course, everything happened. And here it is. I even kept the little notes from each stage here. So,
I mean, he got the first stage win, right? I mean, he was pretty far back in the pack. He was somewhere around the middle. Him and I forget who got second. They stayed out. They skipped the
actually Logano. Him and Logano stayed out. SVG, Busch, Elliott, Reddick, Larson, Suarez, Byron, and Allmendinger were your top 10 in the first stage.
And we saw the same move at the end of the second stage for, not for Bubba, for whoever else won that one. I mean, they were not doing well. They stayed out. They got first and second. I think maybe Blaney got second. I forget who got first in the second stage.
Priest that time. Ryan Priest and then Blaney got second. Yep. And that check that one was Priest, Blaney, McDowell, which was raced very well. Busch, SVG, Allmendinger. Wallace was still running in the seventh there. Then Bell and Suarez. Everything kind of fell off for Wallace after that. He got some points though, at least in this one. So
he's sixth in points right now.
Yeah, and the thing that got a lot of guys was that the rule about all four tires going above or outside the lane there, and that was you had Connor Zilic, who actually got a flat tire in the first stage, by the way, from that wreck. That was from the wreck with Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain. It wasn't necessarily from there, but the cause and effect, everybody piling up, you had cars get in damage there. Ty Dillon actually went into the wall in the stage one. That was 4 laps in. In 4 laps, we had Connor Zilic with a flat tire. We had Hamlin with damage already. You had Ty Dillon in the wall. Noah Gragson went around in stage 5. Actually, Bubba Wallace's was lap 6 was when he actually got the penalty. And then he fell back. And then from there, it was kind of SVG, Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch took the lead when everybody went to the pits. SVG again. And then they pitted, like you said, they were kind of, the strategy was pitting almost the last lap before, because pit lane closes 2 laps before the end of the stage. And they were doing it like that lap right before they would end that stage. They kind of did it the first 2, and then that allowed them to set up their strategy throughout the rest of the race. But, it was just, there was some good racing in stage 1 and stage 2. But, man, when it came down to it at the end, that was when you started seeing a lot of things. And then let's talk about some of the guys that had pretty bad days, man.
Okay.
I mean, start with my guy, Hamlin. He gets the damage in the first thing, does good driving, ends up finishing, I think, in the top 20, so not a terrible day. But the fact that he had so many issues, and he usually does pretty decent he's usually a top 10 driver in most of the road courses, unless something crazy happens where a guy cuts through the whole thing of grass and almost takes him out. But names there. But then he locks up the tires, ends Austin Dillon's day.
Yeah.
He stays on and ends up actually getting a pretty decent, finish for him. But overall, to me, not a great day. You had Kyle Larson, just, my goodness, man. The first couple stages, I guess, were decent, but then you had the tire issue on I believe it was the left rear when he's in. And then the right rear, I believe, falls off, or the right front. No, yeah, the right front, I believe, fell off. Or it might have been vice versa. But then
I think it was the front right.
Yeah, he's limping around the track. The tire's rolling further than the car is, but he makes it back in. And when I'm looking at it, I don't think he had
to go pretty far on that track. It was early in the track when he lost that tire.
Yeah, luckily he had some time again to finish okay.
I was surprised he made it around.
Yeah, and then next, he didn't even really come back that well. He finished.
So he got 30. He got 32. He 32, finished. Yeah, he finished 2 spots higher than he qualified. So it was a positive day.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, if you want to look at it that way, yeah. Brad Keselowski had a great finish. Again, he wasn't talked about much of the race, but then you find out at the end of the race his damn cold suit's not working.
Really? I didn't hear that.
The whole thing, they show him on a gurney. He's getting, he had to get IVs in him, and everything is fine now.
Wow.
The suit wasn't working the whole damn race, man.
Wow. It was only like 70 degrees outside, but it was like 100, 105 on the track. So, I mean, he's got to be out there inside the car, Whew, that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, and funny is Bowman had a good finish, but I think he went around about 4 or 5 times on the track.
Yeah.
I kept hearing Bowman's around. It's like, okay, all right, here it goes again. And I'm kind of looking back. Everybody else just kind of had, a good rides, I guess, good drives, because there wasn't a lot of like craziness happening other than there's a couple of the penalties, which was Larson, Hamlin in the second stage.
Well, Larson's big penalty comes next week, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, yeah, because he's going to lose what is it, a crew chief and a tire changer?
I believe I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be the fallout of that penalty is going to be, the big thing. SVG had good drive. I just think some of these cars just kind of fell off, like what Kyle Busch said.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, right? So we had 2 dominant racers all day. Really, in my view, the dominant cars didn't win, and we've seen that the last 2 races, right? But maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's something I'm not picking up. Maybe Christopher Bell and William Byron are just really good at hanging around and saving their car. But I'm not sure what happened with SVG. But you could see somewhere around lap 70, 75, like the car just stopped having the pickup that it would have. The acceleration was down, and I'm not sure where that comes from. I know we talk about tires, but tires I wouldn't think have anything to do with the acceleration. So I'm not sure what happened there. And we saw similar coming from Busch, but Busch seemed to be losing some of the traction. Yeah. I mean, I believe that he may have gotten tires a little earlier. He was also playing a lot of defensive driving.
2-lap difference, and then I think also, as you're saying, Christopher Bell made him wear out his tires.
Right.
Because he was doing everything he could, at least, trying to do whatever he could to keep Bell behind him, and I think he just used up his car more than he wanted to, And that's also his fault too, because he slipped up on the one turn. He had a good little, not a comfortable cushion, but he had a good cushion, and then he missed one of the turns, and he went too wide, and that allowed Christopher Bell to just close in, and then it was on from there. Then Bell, Busch was just doing everything he could to stay in front, and just ended up running his car ragged in a way.
I mean, he was putting on a clinic is what he was doing.
Yeah. No, he was.
It was really impressive, actually. But, just too many laps were left, and Bell was fast at the end. He was real fast. I mean,
he made him use his car up, man. That's the thing is like, I remember, it was Busch in the end. He's like, I appreciate, Bell running him clean. I just wish I had, would have been on the same tires as him. And I just don't know that. And again, I think if it's vice versa, then we're talking about Kyle Busch being the winner today, because I think whoever was in that second place, was going to chew up the other one to where you've got to. And again, this is putting them on even tires.
Right.
They did pit even. If Bell was in the front trying to do it, I think you end up making them, as long as they don't make the mistake, and Bell didn't make a mistake and made Busch use everything that his car had.
I mean, I'd be willing to say even the two laps on the tires didn't matter all that much. I'd be willing to say that it's probably more not so much about the tires as much as the defensive driving and having somebody behind you. You're having to make those blocks. You're having to come in and out, and he just wore it out.
You're hitting those what are they called? The little
slaloms. I'm not sure, the little bumps.
Yeah, those things that raise your car. You're hitting them harder. Just trying to make sure that I need to be so far inside that I can't allow him to get inside, that now you change a little bit of the driving there. For you, and with yesterday, Noah Gragson also is another one that surprised me last night.
Yeah.
Driving up with there. Again, it's one of those things where you just, not saying that they're not good drivers, but you don't usually see them on most of your tracks. And this week's going to be one of those tracks where they're in Phoenix, which is the the championship race happens there as well. Same configuration as Homestead in a way.
Mhm.
So I believe the next 3 races are Phoenix, Vegas, Homestead.
I know that I saw the commercials for Homestead, and it was 21st to the 24th, right? So that's 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
It would make sense that they would stay out west, so you're probably right.
Yeah. So again, now you're going to start seeing, I think, some of the. Again, you'll start seeing your Larsons moving up. I think you'll start seeing some of those guys. And again, Christopher Bell has won on these tracks as well.
Yes.
Chase Elliott's ran well. Tyler Reddick. All those guys have stayed up there. The ones that I wonder about now are your Noah Graxons, your SVGs.
Right.
Bushers ran good recently. As of, late, the 17's been good on most of these tracks. But I don't know that you're going to see a lot of those guys in the top 10, and I don't think you're going to see Logano way down in the 20s and 30s, and some of these guys that were down here yesterday that were just like
Yeah.
So for you, the three races in, we've had basically one super speedway, one really fast speedway with Atlanta now with the new configuration. And
they're calling it a super speedway. Let's call it what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. All right, 2 super.
It's short, but it's fast.
2 super speedways and a road course. For you right now, is there anybody that you can look at and go, I don't like where they're at right now in this part of the season, or somebody that you're looking at and saying he's doing a lot better than I thought they were going to be doing? And again, 2 super speedways and a road course. So I don't know if I'm not trying to set you up where you have to really give me an answer, but
no, I got you.
It caught your eye.
So, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but, I grew up watching Rusty Wallace. So the 2-car is everything. That's, it's like the Dolphins. It's what I follow. I wish they would put Miller Lite back on the car, but, they won't. Heck, I'd even take Miller Genuine Draft back on the car, but, it's not what it is anymore. I get it. But I still follow the 2-car. So Austin Cindric, love him. Kind of lost interest with the 2-car with Keselowski in it, not going to lie. Cindric came in the car. I was curious about him, and then he's just been excellent. So I'm a little disappointed with his performance, not so much that he hasn't raced well, especially at the 2 super speedways, but obviously he didn't finish. And then I don't even know what he got at the other race, but he was somewhere in the middle of the pack, and that's okay. I expect that. But even as far as the Fords, he finished towards the end of the Fords. It's not like he was up towards the front of the Fords. You got Gregson and Ryan Blaney and Chris Buescher. They got top 10s, I believe. And those are Fords. They're not doing great at the road course, but they were still able to get up there and put a decent performance in. And Austin Cindric didn't pull that off. So I'm not happy with where he's at. But being what it is, realistically, you need to win a race. And if you win a race, we can get to the playoffs and we can talk again later. So I think he's fine. It's 3 races. I'm not concerned, but
he's sitting in 11th in points. When I'm looking, I just went through the points here real quick to look.
Yeah.
But he was 4th. He dropped 7 points this last race.
Right.
Or 7 spots. Sorry, 7 spots.
I mean, I'm surprised he's 11th because he's got one top 10 and 1 DNF.
Yeah,
and then
what I was looking at, because again, a lot of these guys you got right now. I mean, let's just go real quick. I'll start at 13 because Joey Logano, the current Cup champion, is sitting in 13th right now. He's basically a race out of first place. He's 39, and usually they start 40 cars.
Right.
Then you've got Kyle Larson's 45 points out. Denny Hamlin's sitting at 49 points out. Ross Chastain's at 54 points out. Keselowski's 73 points out right now. I'm trying to look at just some of the bigger names that are down there that, you got Ty Gibbs there. Chase Briscoe. What is
dead last?
Briscoe.
Let's see. I mean, he finished every race.
How is he so bad? He's behind.
It says he's got a top 5 and a top 10. And he's got 9 laps left. So I'm not sure.
That's the penalty. They got the penalty for the spoiler, and it took 50, or no, it took 100 points, I believe. So he would be 44 points. So he would be sitting up around Carson Hocevar in 15th, but the penalty killed him. I forgot about the 19 was the penalty. And then when you look at guys up top, I mean, Michael McDowell in the 71.
Yeah.
Like, you don't expect to see,
Not surprised.
Michael McDowell knows how to race. I'm not taking that away from him. It's just sometimes those cars, when you get into them, they're not the same. But who's the?
I'm not surprised with Michael McDowell, not this early. So I mean, Michael McDowell won Daytona in 2021. He is an excellent super speedway racer. Not surprised, and he did pretty well at COTA. So I think he was top 15, something like that. So I mean, not surprised that he would be that high up. I don't think it'll stay, but I do think that I'm not surprised this early. I mean, let's talk about how about Bubba
for right now. Do you know right off the top of your head who McDowell's driving for? Who's the 71? Is that
I don't. Let's see.
Oh man, I got it right here. I'm just trying to look it up.
Spire.
Yeah, it is Spire. Okay. All right. So that's not a bad thing. And I'm trying to see who they got.
Who I'm actually surprised with as far as where they're at, and I guess it depends on how you look at it. He's got 2 wins, and to me, that really means he's in first, no matter what, with the way the playoffs are.
Yeah.
But Christopher Bell's in fourth in points. He's got 2 wins, but he's got 1 DNF. So I guess I understand. But Bubba Wallace up there at 6. I know he's got a couple of stage point wins. That's impressive. And then Tyler Reddick, he's 2 top 5s.
Yeah, Reddick
3 starts.
Strong, man. Them 2311 cars the last couple of years. Again, I mean, I know Reddick gets wins.
Didn't he have the most last year?
I know it was tied or close to. I think it was him and Byron, actually. I think those 2 guys were going at it for there. But when you look at them, man, the 2311 guys have they've been good because even Wallace has made it in every year by pointing in. Even last year, 1 spot left. He got it. He raced his way in without winning. So those guys, those Toyotas have been good. And man, I'll tell you now, I did not expect Reddick to be so damn good. I don't know why, but I just didn't think that, like, watching him in some of the other races, and I was just like, nah, I don't know if that's the right choice. And damn, I was wrong.
I mean, it's been going on for a couple of years now too. I mean, he's really been quite exceptional.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know it's not a fluke. He's been doing this now consistently. And again, maybe it goes back to also what equipment he was in there, because again, some of the truck teams you get, it's changed now because you got a lot of them kind of teaming up, but also before, like about 3 or 4 years, you had some teams that would, I mean, I remember going to Homestead for truck races.
Fly-by-night type teams?
Yes. I mean, you got guys just coming in on flatbeds and like, you're like, damn, okay, all right.
Love it, though. Love those guys. Those guys. Those are my favorite. Yeah.
Buying blue jeans and I mean, they barely got, they're borrowing like the power, stuff from the other teams, and guys are it's a NASCAR thing though, but it reminds me so much of, for me here growing up, going to Hialeah Speedway, which of course is no longer here.
Okay.
But you saw that, like, just the camaraderie and just good racing, man. And you got a feel for what racing was. And now, let me ask you this. Where NASCAR is right now, do you like where it is right now? Did you like the older? Do you kind of like where it's going now, or do you want to see it go somewhere else? What's your thoughts right now on the state of NASCAR is where it is right now?
All right. So I like NASCAR where it is. I'll be honest with you, the last batch, sort of the Jimmy Johnson age, it kind of lost me. They kept changing the rules. I wasn't really sure what was going on. It just seemed like they were trying to make sure Jimmy didn't win all the time. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't really into Keselowski in the 2 cars, so I didn't really have someone I could follow. I just saw Rusty leave, so I was kind of sore about that. And obviously the 80s and the 90s is what I grew up on NASCAR. So, obviously, that's about how old I am, 87. So the 90s was what I grew up on. And I think we got back to some of that. they got this next gen car, and it seems like we're hitting a little bit more, right? And these cars are a little bit more durable, so they're able to take it. And I like that. I like the contact. I like that, the drivers we got fights last year. We got straight up fights. We got fist fights in the pits. And that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. This is NASCAR. I get it. Let's talk about it. It's a little trashy. And I like it a little trashy. The trashier it is, the better. So if we're fighting in the pits and we're trading paint and we're hitting, I'm down. That's what I want to see. And, it's not so much of the whiny years of Rowdy where, he would sort of say something, somebody else would say something, and then they would talk about it. And I don't want that. I want some fights, and I want some emotion. And we got a lot of young drivers right now that are really good. So NASCAR's in a good place. They're going in a good way. We got 3 good providers. Toyota has really come out and done a good job. Now that Dodge is gone, Ford and Chevrolet, they've kind of got their types, and then we've got 3 types where Chevrolet is kind of like the in-between. It's like they fit everywhere, but they don't necessarily dominate everywhere. We've got Toyotas that, I'm sorry, but I saw that car. I think the Toyotas are the best cars at the road tracks. That's what I saw. And they do well everywhere else. They don't necessarily draft well. The Fords have that going on. They've got a little bit of the size. They're flatter. They draft really well, so they've got their peak too. I don't know. I like where it's going. I like where NASCAR is. I kind of feel like we're back in a good spot where hopefully we're going in the right direction. And some of the things that were pushing people away, I think maybe bringing people in. I like the road course in Chicago. I think that's cool. I am a little upset because I'm from Daytona that they got rid of the July 4th race here. But to be honest with you, it's hot here in August. It's hot here in July, whatever. Heck, if they could put it in October, I'd be cool with that. But you really don't want a playoff race in Daytona.
Yeah, the July 4th race meant something. I mean, again, it was always the July 4th race, and then what'd you have? You had a couple weeks, and then it was the Coca-Cola 600. And it was just like that whole good there. But I do like having the super speedways, though, inside the playoffs a little bit more. Because you got a chance for just, as long as they make it to that level. Because I think the Talladega one was in the round of 8.
Yeah.
So you had a chance of somebody surprising and making it in. Of course, I don't believe anybody in the playoffs actually won that one.
I'll be honest. I don't want Talladega or Daytona anywhere near the playoff. I don't want it.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Just as a wild card.
No, I don't need wild cards in the playoff. I don't need wild cards in the playoff.
Yes, sir. Give me them all. Give me them all, man.
You want Atlanta. Atlanta's fast. Atlanta's relatively predictable. I'll take that. Phoenix.
But to me, Phoenix and Homestead are just I love the fact that we get a Homestead. We get the race. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But man, other than restarts, it's not too damn exciting, bro.
I mean, it used to be the last race. You guys got robbed of that.
Yeah, but again, they took it to Phoenix, which is basically the same shit.
Right.
The 2 safest tracks to where you're not going to have some big collision to mess up the playoff for the championship race,
Right.
Because other than like a blowout or something like that, it's pretty much just constant racing except for the end of the stages at both of those tracks.
Yeah.
And for me, look, I like where NASCAR is right now. I'm missing, though, that, where you said with Miller Lite, and I'm missing FedEx now. I'm missing some of the older sponsors. Again, I haven't been watching it as long as you. I've watched it on TV, as I was growing up, but I really didn't dive into it until probably about, when did Hamlin start driving? I think we looked this up before, and I can't even remember when Denny actually started driving for.
Well, I think we were looking up when Toyota got around and when Dodge had left, and that was almost 20 years ago. I'm not sure when Hamlin's been around, but it's been a while. I mean, I would say 2010-ish.
Actually, he's 44 now, so let's see where he was. Here we go. Good old Denny Hamlin. And they don't tell you anything here. They don't tell you anything. I got to read the bio. But again, those were the times where I started. Like it was like I would say probably like 98, 99. I started watching like more like intently. Like okay, I'm liking this. I'm watching the races. Other than the road courses I would usually miss. Find something else to do. Not gonna lie. But now, you know, I like the Chicago race. I do. I like everything that it stands for. I didn't like that it was July 4th. I'm not gonna lie there that weekend there, but it's grown on me there because now they've made it, almost like a tourist destination for July 4th for NASCAR fans in a way.
It's kind of got like an F1 thing going on.
Yeah, because it's got racing, it's got the concerts now connected to it. It's got, and you go through the whole damn like the city, man. You're going through Chicago. I just think it's badass now. But again, it grew on me. The first time I was like, oh man, I'm just not feeling this. And then honestly, man, like if Vegas has got the F1 thing set up in, why don't they do a Vegas road course there too? They do it for the F1, but I know they race it. I think they do that at night though, right? The last F1 race, I believe, was at night in Vegas. Was that?
So they're going to go to Vegas 3 times? Because that Vegas race, I mean,
I think maybe
there's a lot of seats, and they sell a lot of seats at Vegas. Yeah, and if you're putting in a road course, you're giving up a lot of money.
Yeah, and then also, I don't know if Vegas wants to close down their streets like 3-4 times a year for 3 or 4 days at a time too, man. Like, But I want to see a little bit more of. Because like it used to be loyalty to sponsors, and now I feel like that's kind of gone.
Well, you don't even have the same sponsor on the car all year. Yeah, like, depending on what week it is, you may see someone else. I mean,
that's like 7 races,
and you could see a different sponsor on a different driver on the same team. Yeah. Like how many times do you see Menards on the 2 or the 12, or it's on different cars all the time?
Or even Bass Pro is sponsoring cars in different teams.
Right. And I don't know who drives the monster car depending on what week it is. I can't tell who it is half the time. Sometimes it's Reddick, sometimes it's not. And then
sometimes Gibbs, Ty Gibbs. It's usually a Toyota driver though, at least. They kind of stay within the family.
Yeah, they stay with the team. They stay with the team, right? Yeah.
It's 2311 or it's because again, I think it's but again, the other thing that I like about it, and I know he's gone now, but the culture that you've got now when you get Michael Jordan as an owner. Pitbull came in for a little bit as an owner. You've got other guys that are working. Emmett Smith with Raj Karuth and not Raj Karuth. What's his name? In the Xfinity series. He's in the military as well. He drives. Damn, I can't think of his name right now. But he's a part owner of a car in Xfinity with
okay.
So like I like the fact that you're getting that, and I love this new. And again, I like the fact that hey, Helio Castroneves, you come in, you get a spot. You get a spot because you've shown that it's like a legacy driver spot, and I think
let's see what happens. Give it a shot. Why not? Right?
What are they gonna do? I mean, you watch them on practice. If they're dangerous, then you're like, hey, we're not gonna let you race. But again, they made you have now Leg. The female driver, she's going to race in Phoenix.
Okay.
But she raced ARCA, and she was doing damn good in practice and everything else. She got taken out in Daytona, but like 4 laps in, but she had already done all like the practices and everything else. And so they were like, you've done enough. You've proven, and she's been around racing forever. And now she had a chance to race in Phoenix. And I like the fact that, they're doing that. And also they're doing it with teams that could possibly win too.
Right.
You're not just throwing, Helio Castroneves in with Sean Stanley Racing because I need a driver and I get to have Helio here, and I think that's been good. And then also I think the fact that now the NASCAR drivers, the Cup drivers can only do 6 races in each division, I think helps because I think one, it helps attract people to watch the trucks or the Xfinity by putting a big name in some of those races. And again, not saying it's going to sell out or anything. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But at least people are sitting in the stands when Kyle Busch is racing in trucks. because there's been quite a few races when you look up in the stands during trucks and you're like, is there somebody there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, so you see that. I like the fact that they give, the 6 races each. And I think it also allows, and they said in trucks, they're like, I forgot who it was, but he's like, I'm only racing Kyle Busch. That's the only person I want to beat. And again, that allows them to at least, I like that end of it and watching how these guys are growing up racing, and you're watching the steps. And that's the other thing that I like through this now is you watch guys from truck to Xfinity to Cup, and they're excelling in each one.
So let's also talk about bringing back some of the old too. I like that.
Yeah.
So what was the place they did the Clash, the little track?
Yeah, the Bowman.
Yeah, they went to Bowman Gray, right? I love putting dirt on Bristol. That was awesome. Let's have some more dirt. Let's do it. Love dirt.
Yeah, I look, if you want to do dirt during the Bristol day race, let's do it. I don't want the night race to be dirt though, man.
Let's put them in different cars. Let's go to a real dirt track. Let's do dirt.
No, but then Kyle Larson and them.
Let's put them in Outlaws. Yeah.
That's the other thing too is these guys they're allowing a lot more lenience. And again, I don't know if it was just the drivers before, like, oh, I'm not going down to drive at this track or whatever. But now you're looking at like Kyle Busch is racing with his son. Of course, Kevin's racing with his son now, but Kevin's out of the car now. But Kyle Larson's racing almost every other weekend. Christopher Bell was racing a lot over the weekend. I think all of them did the Chili National almost.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few. I mean, you got Dale Jr. doing some car. I know he owns the thing, so he does it probably out of just trying to get some people there. But, he's still driving in those. And it's a lot of things that can just – I feel like it's going in the right direction. I don't know where the problem was with the owners and NASCAR – with the revenue, and they're still, I believe it's Trackhouse and 2311 that haven't signed the charter. They're under the whatever the judge gave them abilities to do this year, but right now they haven't signed their charters.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see how that works out.
Yeah, and to me, NASCAR, look, man, I don't know how the whole thing works out. But to me, you make your money off of these teams. I don't see how you cannot have a decent revenue sharing. Like, if it's not for these cars it's not like you can just go and grab, I don't know, some Nick Sanchez from the trucks, throw him in a car and be like, okay, guys, here's your cup. A lot of the fans, the best thing about NASCAR is the loyalty to their drivers.
I don't know. I think everybody's replaceable. So
maybe, but like you said, Brad Keselowski didn't do it for you, right? So for a
That's
while,
true.
you didn't follow the two.
That's true.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like you have those guys, and then also like for instance, say, you know what, Hendrick says, look, if we can't get this revenue sharing thing down, I can't keep Chase Elliott. What do you think that does for everybody with NASCAR?
Right. It brings everybody down.
Yeah, because does Napa stay and look, if no Chase, I'm not sponsoring, Sean Stanley to race the car. I sponsor Chase Elliott because I know what I get with Chase Elliott. Hooters, I know what I get with Chase Elliott. When I put him out there, I know NASCAR fans are going to look at it. It's not the same when I put, I'm using myself every time, but, Sean Stanley in that car, it's just not the same. And that's where I think some people in NASCAR have the thinking of what you said. Everybody's replaceable. And
I just think in life everyone's replaceable. I don't think anybody is everything all the time. And
I agree with
listen,
that. But again, the brand,
everybody was nobody at some point, right? Like we're talking about Tyler Reddick.
But the thing is,
he was nobody until he wasn't.
Yes, but what happens when the race is done? When the race is done, who do they go talk to? They don't go talk to the owner. They don't go talk to the crew chief. So the brand of that car becomes, of course, the driver.
Right.
So now they become what you're trying to, sell, and then you're not doing a good job of keeping them. Like, I think there's got to be some give and take there.
So there are some people that are into the driver, right? Like I get that. Like how many people are following Kyle Busch, and now that he's in the 8 car at Richard Children's Racing. There are some people that do that. There are some,
Maybe Rowdy Nation.
Yeah, Rowdy Nation, they're out there. And they probably still got some McDonald's stuff in their closet, but they may have an 8 now.
Yeah.
I think it depends on when you came along. I think there's a lot of people like me that just somebody got their eye when they were a kid, and then it's like this dolphin stuff. We're terrible, but I'm not going to put somebody else's gear on.
No, exactly. But that's what I'm saying though, is they have, at least you've locked on it. And I get nowadays a lot of people are not so much sold on the thing, but like when you go to a NASCAR race and you go to the haulers where they're selling the merchandise, those fans aren't there like just like shopping. They know exactly where they're heading. I'm going to the RC hauler. I'm going to the Joe Gibbs hauler. I'm going to the Chase Elliott hauler. I'm going to whichever one. And hell, they've got the teams even know that, hey, on social media, these are the times the drivers are going to be there. You've got lines that go forever when you get to like the Chase Elliott's and things like that. So to think that some of these guys are replaceable, I think that's a grave mistake, man. And also you make the teams, make the sponsors pay a lot more because the revenue sharing is not there, and you're watching what's happened. FedEx is like, oh, I'll go down to 14 races. Oh, now I'm 7. Oh, next year I'm out. Because it's goddamn expensive to get your name on a hood of a car. I know like 10 years ago, for shits and no, it would have been over 20 years ago. For shits and giggles, one of the companies that I was with said, hey, they're racing, so let's try to put our name on the hood. At that time, they wanted $3.5 million for the hood. Right. And this wasn't for a known racer either. This was just one of the guys that was going to be in the race. We're hoping they'll get 15 to 20 laps or something. And we're like, oh man, no way did we think it was going to be that much. And now I can only imagine what some of these people are paying now to be on these cars.
Yeah, I have no idea. No, I mean, we can look into it and find out.
No, but again, the revenue sharing would help with that. And then you start bringing in, because I mean, now look at how many, what do you got? Debt relief is on Hamlin now for most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, trying to look at some of the cars now as they're spinning out here as I'm watching the replay of the race. Castrol's back. It is funny who you have as sponsors for some of these teams, man.
BuildSubmarines.com.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's in there. I saw it. It's been more than one race though. I did notice it more than once, so that was cool. But I don't want to build a submarine. I don't know who that's.
Yeah, I'm not sure
that audience is.
Yeah, I'm not sure who they're trying to appease there, but I mean, it's just, I like where they're going. I just think there's still some things that definitely need to be looked at and maybe given a little bit more looks than just like all right, we'll see. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I just think there's more to it than, and again, maybe I'm wrong because all the other owners signed it, but I don't know, man. To me, look, Michael Jordan, I don't want him being a GM for my basketball team or anything else, but it seems like he does pretty good when he puts his money on something and he wants to be an owner and he's...
Yeah, but signing the charter is just buying your spot. Like, you could still go out there and qualify for every race.
Yes, but it's about the revenue sharing of it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was the wording that they kept going back to, was that they didn't like with what they were being offered from NASCAR, which I'm guessing is the revenue part of it. I don't know, because again, like you're saying, all it is just saying you're a charter.
They sound like Florida State. They sound like they're trying to out negotiate other people and take money from other teams.
Maybe that's what they're trying to do.
That sounds like negotiating. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know that they're negotiating with the right people. I'm pretty sure NASCAR is up for sale, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. Well, man, that'd be interesting to see, because I know the France family they're still right.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's like what now? It's generations now, right? It's not.
Yeah, we're in the third generation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, which is usually when you start kind of getting into that level of okay. And also, I mean, man, I think they need to call TKO. They're buying everything. They bought Rodeo. They bought WWE. They're buying everything. So maybe
Something happened. I wasn't sure. I didn't really understand it. Something happened with TKO and Endeavor today. Some Salt Lake something. I think they're taking Endeavor private, and they were buying every share for $27.50. There was a huge crash on Endeavor today. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Endeavor, TKO, WWE, those may all be going private.
what? Oh, they might be going private.
I believe that there was. Yeah, I think that there's a company called Salt Lake that, like I said, was buying out Endeavor. They're buying out all the shareholders.
TKO is going to wait. No, that's an old one. That's not today. Because I know they purchased, and this is where they put from Endeavor. They acquired IMG, PBR, and On Location from Endeavor. That was going through in October. And I don't know where. I know because now they just released a thing in Vegas where you can go see UFC, WWE, and the PBR on one ticket.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we'll let it go. All right, Spitz, let them know where they can get you, man, and talk some NASCAR with you.
All right, you can find me at NoldOut87 on X, or you can hit me up on the chat on the Squared Circle Digest. I'll be there.
Yes, sir. And don't forget tonight we have the Raw recap. I don't know how much is going to be with John Cena because apparently he got on a damn flight and flew back to Budapest as soon as he did the what the fallout is from Elimination Chamber on Raw. That'll be going live as soon as Raw goes off the air tonight.
How about that face he made, huh?
Oh, man. Good stuff, buddy. Good stuff. The Squared Circle Digest will be tomorrow. And tomorrow night, 7 p.m. And then also every Monday night now, you can come here, get your NASCAR fill. The season will start, getting into some other tracks to where there's going to be more strategy involved, although in a race, of course, that they were at was a lot of strategy. And this race really, to me, made me think, road course a little bit differently. And maybe it's because of new configuration. I just felt like there's more action on this road course than just, okay, let's dive bomb into one to get the lead, because if not, then we just follow everybody until the end and we wreck. But so you can check me out at Stanley Media _11. I'm at Stanley Media House Network on everything else and also on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe, and appreciate everybody that was in the chat, everybody on X, Twitch, Facebook page. Spencer, I appreciate you, my man.
Absolutely. See you next week.
See you next week right here on Talkin Racing Now on the Stanley Media House Network.